Assalamu alaikum. Happy Women's History Month again. Here we are. I hope you're having a wonderful month, and I'm so excited to continue our conversations as we recognize that we are we are our history. I'm very excited today. I have Dr. Anna Marie Ramazanzade joining me. And I'm excited for you all to meet her and learn about what she thinks, and just introduce her as part of our Rabata community here and what we are all trying to do and how we are all individually in different ways trying to understand our role in the history that is being built now. How are people looking back at our time? And how are they thinking about it? So, Anna Marie, I saw you come on, so just ask to join, and then I'll be able to click yes. And yeah, I wanted to, remember yesterday we were in front of the wall. The wall is going down as we speak. It's actually the reason I'm home, because I started getting a little bit of an asthma reaction, which is why my voice is a little bit gone to all of the dust. But I was hoping to show you all that piece of history changing as we move and grow into our new space, our new anchoring space that many of you donated and helped us with last December. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Yeah, so what we've been talking about here throughout March in Women's History Month is we've been thinking about how it is that we are our history, and what does that mean? And in thinking about what it means, I've been just talking to different women around Rabata who hold different roles, and listening to what they have to say and reflecting on that. And it's been really wonderful. It's been really wonderful in how we've heard so many different things. SubhanAllah, so many different things. And today, I'm hoping to interview Dr. Anna Marie Ramazanzade. I've known her since she was a very young woman. She is now a very accomplished woman, mashallah. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her while she figures out how to join me here. She is a graduate. You're not sure how to join. Okay. So I tried to click on you to bring you in, but it doesn't give me an option. So let me try to add you as a moderator. What does that do? No. Okay, could you grab someone who knows how to manage Instagram, Umita maybe, and talk to her and see how she can help you, and then we can get you on. I'll just be talking about you until you come on. Oh, mashallah. Well, yes, I was in Kuwait. Actually, I lived in Kuwait, Munisa, for a whole year. I was helping with the beginnings of Al-Awa'il school there. So proud of them too, mashallah, and the work that they do. That's very exciting. Okay, so Anna Maria is in the Rabata ecosystem. She is our Arabic program curriculum, listen to the word I'm going to use here, designer. That's a really important word, because she is a specialist. And, so ask to send a request for live video, someone's telling you there. She's a specialist in Arabic, learning Arabic as a second language. Her doctorate is in this, and her doctorate is from Oxford University, which just happens to be ranked as the best university in the world. MashaAllah. So she has her undergraduate degree, her master's degree, and her PhD from Oxford University. MashaAllah. And it is in, we'll ask her all. I know that her undergraduate one is in the Arabic language. Her master's degree is in linguistics, I think. And her doctorate her dissertation is all about how do we learn Arabic as a second language. So with all of that expertise, she offered to build an Arabic program at Ribaat, at Rabata's academic program, which is called Ribaat, that would be really focused on the experience of the second language learner. And mashallah, it has been amazing. We are building it as we go, but we have so many people out there in the world helping us with this. And mashallah, Dr. Anna Maria has developed this in coordination in the framework of ACTFL. If you don't know what ACTFL is, those are the standards that universities hold to when they're offering the Arabic language, so that you can know, like, let's say you're a novice or a beginning Arabic learner at University of Michigan, and then you're going to go to University of Wisconsin. How do you know where you are? Well, because universities use the same standards to know about that. Okay? All right, so we're getting some instructions for you, Anna Maria. Send a request from the plus icon at the bottom of your page. Is that helpful to you at all? I'm sure you're finding help. Shali, you're finding help, so you can join me here. Oh, she did it. We got a request. Here she is. You found it. Alhamdulillah. And here she comes. Well, she didn't come on yet, but I did accept it. Here she comes. Here we go. Inshallah. Anyway, so that's what she's doing for us here in our ecosystem. She's building and supervising this system, this new Arabic program, which we have gotten so much feedback about, of how wonderful it is, how motivated people are, how they're finally learning Arabic, how they're finally reading Quran and understanding it. So it's been really, really awesome. Alhamdulillah. Let me see. Okay. It looks like you're having some trouble. I'm accepting you. Well, this is exciting. This is our first real technical difficulty that we're having. Maybe you have to try from someone else's phone. That's what Antifadia had to do. Maybe maybe Hannah has a phone you could use, or somebody else around you. Yes, I save all of these lives. They're on the series that's called Women's History Month. So I met Anna Maria when she came to Syria on a gap year, and she was still young. And oh, right, she's coming from the UK. That's why it's taking her time to get here. It's funny. I met her. Oh, yeah, saying you're unable to join. I don't know what to do about that. Bismillah. That may mean you need to use somebody else's phone, or change your settings or something like that. But Bismillah, inshallah, you're going to figure it out. Are you using another person's? You need to let me know if I have somebody else asking to join who's not you. So I just want to make sure. I'm not going to say yes unless I know that's you. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Now we have lots of people. Okay, so Anna Marie, if you decide to try to join with another phone, please let me know which one you are joining with, okay? All right. Well, we talk here about what we are doing and how we're thinking around this creation or this building of history. And I know that Anna Maria we've talked a lot, she and I, about the tragedy of Arabic language today, and how the the Muslim world, we're losing our language. Like if you travel in places like Dubai and Kuwait or Syria or Jordan, in places like this, you're going to find that the Arabic, yeah, there's so many English speaking schools, but the new generations are not learning, they're not really learning Arabic. And this is how we get separated from our religion. This is how we get separated from our deen. This is how we get separated from our history. This is how we get separated from our roots, by not learning Arabic, by not having access to really learn Arabic. And subhanAllah, the non-native Arabic speaker is struggling even more in that. Because when you are struggling to learn Arabic, and it's a struggle for you, and then you feel and you don't feel motivated to keep going, that's a boulder, that's a rock in the road. So Anna Maria is really intentional about helping us build this program here. And okay, let me see. Let's see how this is going. Bismillah. She's really intentional about making this happen, and making this happen for all of you. So if you haven't seen our program yet, definitely go over and look at it. I'm really hoping she's going to be able to come on today. There she is. We have liftoff.
Yes,
somebody Rakat said in the chat that you're in the UK, so it's taking you some time. I was going to make a joke about how you're getting old. You don't know how to click the right buttons on Instagram.
No idea what happened. I updated and everything, but I'm here now, so
that's so funny. Alhamdulillah, that's what we want. We just want you here now, and we're so happy to have you. I've been sort of filling the time with telling people how awesome you are, but you say a little bit about. I'm going to ask you the same question I'm asking everyone, but say, just before we do that, I'd just like you to say a little bit about why Arabic. Why does Arabic matter to you? Why are you working in this field? And I know that this matters to you, like even in, it's not contained to Ribaat. This is your work. This is what you're doing. Yeah. So why Arabic? And you're not a native Arabic speaker. Also, let me just let people know that you're not a native Arabic speaker. You yourself had to learn Arabic.
Why Arabic? Oh gosh. Well, okay, so yeah, this is I'm going to start with a little bit of a tangent, but I've been recently fascinated by the idea of ChatGPT taking over the world. And because, you've been talking about the future, what does the future look like? What does the Ummah look like? I mean, I think we seriously have to consider the growing surge of technology and how much we are sort of divesting and outsourcing a lot of what we as humans do. I mean, we already do it. We do it with, a lot of creative activities and things like that. We are sort of slowly portioning off pieces of ourselves to AI. And because that would have sounded a couple of years ago, it's very much the present. But what ChatGPT can't do is language. You access that without language, nor can it do critical thinking, at least not yet. And I really think that talking about the future, talking about how we equip ourselves to survive as people of faith, as community of faith, we have to have language and we have to have critical thinking skills. Those are things we cannot outsource, and we cannot afford to outsource even if that option becomes available. So when we talk about sort of knowledge being power, I mean, that's now dubious, because we have a machine that has an awful lot of what we could call knowledge. So if we don't equip ourselves with the skills to access that knowledge and critically appraise it, we're not only behind other people, but we're now
Mm.
behind the technology,
Mm.
which is a scary thing. So why Arabic? I mean, because so
Yeah.
many of our, in fact, the majority of our sources are in Arabic. And we can outsource the memorization of them. We can outsource, I don't know, the preservation of them. But we can't outsource our ability to access them. And we can't outsource our ability to critically appraise and apply them in an ever-changing world. So for me, that's why we need Arabic now. And that's why we will need Arabic. We'll continue to need Arabic going into the future.
Wow. That's, yeah, I mean, so we've talked about this before, but this is the first time you've spoken of it in relationship to AI. And that, I have to just now go and think about how really important that is. And the kinds of things that might be happening in the future we can't even imagine, and how important it is to do this preservation work. Not
Yeah,
preservation work, this building of
yeah.
knowledge and
Language and
building
skills. I
of
mean,
language
you
work
can't
in
access
each
knowledge
individual
without
person.
language, and you can't apply it without critical thinking skills. So it's all very well saying knowledge is power, but there are several steps before that.
Yeah. And
It
like you
looks,
said, that knowledge is power, but where is knowledge
yeah,
today? And how do it, yeah,
no,
yeah,
we
we don't want to fall behind the technology. And, yeah, yeah. All right. So now I'm going to build, we're going to build on this. I'm going to ask you our first question that I've been asking everyone. Okay. So I want you to think, and I know you have a new nephew, right? So you have a brand new nephew. Mashallah, congratulations.
yeah.
So let's think about him for a minute, and let's think about not him, his, excuse me, his child, and then not that child, but the next one, and not that one, but the next
Sure.
one, and not that one, but that fifth one. Okay. And it's a girl. What do you hope for her? What do you hope for her as a Muslim, a young Muslim
So,
woman in the world 5
so
generations from
again,
now? What do you
I'm
envision?
going to take it back
Hope,
to the
yeah.
Rama theory just because that's where I start. And I've been thinking about this because I've watched some of the live streams and thought about this question. And I was quite excited about the idea of thinking about the future because that's what I spent a lot of my studies doing. Because in motivation, or at least the theory that I use, it very much depends on envisioning the future. And envisioning the future is never a straightforward exercise. On a very, from a very sort of simple perspective, when we think about the future, we tend to think about two things, or we have two competing things. And one is what you hope for, but one is what you fear. And both of those can be motivated.
Say it again. Say it again. Wait a minute. I want everyone to catch that. Okay. One is what you,
Yeah.
when you think about the future, we're thinking about what we hope for, and
So
we're
when you
also
apply it to
thinking about
yourself,
what
for
we fear.
example, there's an
Okay,
ideal
awesome.
self and a
Keep
feared
going.
self. These are theories, but I mean, we can often relate to that theory. And either one of those can be a stronger driver. It depends. But so we can extend this, or at least I was thinking about how to extend this to 5 generations' time. And when I think about that, I do think about what I hope for, and I do think about what I fear. And they're related. And the scary thing is that they're contingent on us. The future is very much contingent on the present, that present right now being us. And what I guess when I look at my nephew and when I look at, people of my generation who've had children, I fear an ongoing and increasing schism, cavern, crevice, gap between their lives as people of faith and their lives as inhabitants of the modern world. And I think the more that faith becomes a minority, the more it can become insular. And we've seen this with various different, waves of changes in the world. Often when things are threatened, they turn inwards and they can become fossilized, or they can become defensive, or they can become stagnant, or hostile. And I worry that as the modern world progresses, unless, like I said, we keep up with it in how we think about our faith, that schism is going to increase. And that schism psychologically is very difficult to deal with. It's very difficult to be one person here and one person here. There's no, so this takes me on to what I hope. I hope that
so.
we can build and find and create and talk about a way to harmonize our identity as Muslims in the modern world. That's really what I hope for. I mean, I think about my nephew. I hope that I don't have to wait 5 generations for that to happen. I hope that he sees faith as relevant.
Yeah. And these words you're using, what did you say? You said cavern. This cavern between what it means, between these sort of the way of living of a person of faith and the way of living of one who isn't, and that fear of becoming fossilized and all these other things, that these words you're using that are really vivid words, and really, for me, they give me you open the door to live that fear with you, which is I mean, and to think about that split, and really, as you said, psychologically, when that split is happening internally, this is where we're really struggling today, trying to live in this life while embracing our faith and living for the next life, but doing it in a way that is, I would call it prophetic, but we don't know that it is. We as a larger ummah don't know that
when we talk about history, I mean, obviously we're sort of talking about us as history now, but if we go back to what is history for us now in the present, I mean, when you read the seerah and you look at the prophetic example, at least to me, what stands out is an emphasis on relevance, an emphasis on doing life with faith in a way that was comprehensible to whoever was asking the questions. And I think often now, or one thing that I've been conscious of trying to do, is not giving the answer that would apply to me, but trying to find an answer that would apply to whoever's asking. Making it, we're told that we spoke to the people in the language that they understood. I'm going back to language, but language is more than just, you know, Arabic or English. It's content, it's tone, it's you know, the structure of your sentences, it's the you know, the pitch of your voice. I mean, all of it is language. Language is communication. How am I communicating this concept of faith in a way that I'm making it something that you can say, okay, yeah, I can take that with me, rather than actually, you know what, that's not relevant. And so, just to bring this back again to learning Arabic, one of the biggest problems when it comes to teaching a language is relevance. If students are sat in a classroom and they feel like, I'm never going to use this, I just don't see how this is going to enhance my life, my existence, they zone out or they drop out. And that's what's happening, I feel, with faith, or that's what I feel will continue to happen on a bigger and bigger scale, is they zone out or they drop out.
Whoa, I feel like you just nailed something there. That relationship between language, they zone out or they drop out. I mean, I've never said it like that, but I think that's why it's so important to me always on teaching class to really bring in pragmatic examples, to be very pragmatic, very practical. Even the Aqidah book that I'm right now, it's in with beta readers. It's very exciting, you know, but even there, I have really practical examples that I almost putting them in there, because in that sort of scholarly community, to have these really practical examples, or to have lyrics of a song that people might be listening to, it's not done. So it almost feels, for someone like me, that I'm playing with two groups of people in my head, right? Those who might say, why do you have a lyrics of a song in there? But then I'm far more concerned with that students of Aqidah who isn't, what did you say, who it's not relevant, so they're zoning out. And you can't zone out of Aqidah. Like, we've got to know how to be zoned in, you know? Okay, I have another question for you, so let's move on. All right, so we asked about the specific descendant of yours. And now I'm going to make that a little bit bigger picture. So how do you see the Ummah in 100 years? It's your hope. You said you're in hope. What's your hope for the Ummah as a whole in 100 years?
I think that's an interesting question. I mean, so much has changed in the past 100 years on an unprecedented scale. I'm always going to make the question more complicated. So I'm trying to envision what the world will look like in 100 years. But at the end of the day, humans will remain humans. We will have hopes, we will have fears, we will have desires, we will have ambitions, we will have goals, we will have insecurities. So what I would hope is that they are people who other people look at and say, oh, they've got it nailed. They get it. They're the cusp of what's making the world better.
Oh,
that's what I hope.
Yes, that's what I want. That's like the Harry Potter example, where when I remember when J.K. Rowling first came out with Harry Potter, I was living in Syria, and everybody loved that book. Even in Syria, people, the kids who barely spoke English were reading that book before it was translated. And I loved it too. And I remember feeling a sense of jealousy, if I may. Let me explain what I mean. Jealousy in that I wanted us to be able to write the book. And then I thought, write the book that people want to enter into. Then I thought, no, I want to write the life that people want to enter into. Like, everyone back in the day wanted to get the letter to Hogwarts.
I did.
Everybody wanted to, you know.
And yeah, it is a life. She captured a way of existence that people desired. And I certainly don't think, for the most part, we are anywhere near that. Unfortunately, I think I maybe when the Muslim was.
We're not.
I mean, we tend to look at history with sort of rose-tinted spectacles a lot of the time, and we don't necessarily critically engage with it. But I do think that if we were at that point, we're certainly not now. But I hope that we will be.
Yes, I do too. So that brings us to the question: what are you doing now? What are you doing in your life now? # we are our history to help do your part.
So I mean, my tiny chip at the block of this challenge. I'm trying my utmost with the incredible team who I'm working with at Rabata to make Arabic relevant and accessible, so that not only can people join, but they stay. So that's our challenge. It's a big one, a really big one. Language learning in any context is not easy. It's even more of a challenge when it's so closely associated to faith and spiritual worth, because you essentially, I mean, I see this happen a lot in Muslim schools, for example. It's very much packaged as part of faith. And I know we've talked about this before, but then people are left with the feeling that they're bad at it. And that can affect your sense of religiosity. It can affect your sense of, spiritual level, all sorts. So when we approached this curriculum, in building this curriculum, we were very keen to make sure that we're engaging with students' experiences of learning Arabic in as far as possible. We want to continue to grow and keep doing this as we develop the program, so that we are engaging with it as a journey, rather than as a sort of set of tasks that you either succeed in or fail at. Because the implications for both success and failure are greater when it is seen as a sacred language.
Yeah, I just think that your ability to understand that, and in your understanding of it, build this program in such a way as to really encourage success has made such a difference. And I've heard from individual students, but I also recently, we were doing some in-person Quran reading here in Minnesota at the RCC. And I took the group that they called themselves beginners. It wasn't an Arabic class, but they called themselves beginners. So I had understood from them that they don't read at all, which turned out to be incorrect. They had some, like you said, Islamic school background where they had been taught letters, but their description of self was, I don't know anything. And that wasn't true, but they couldn't access their learning because of the heavy implications of all of that stuff mixed up together. And when I was preparing for class, I was going back to your materials, the materials that the team has built for our level 1 stuff. A little cheating there because, I'm the boss. So I was looking through because they're not registered in an Arabic class. It was just a simple once a week reading Quran class. But I was so impressed. And I was, one of the things I was really impressed with is I wasn't going through it as a student. I was looking through it as a scavenger, looking for stuff to pull out to teach. And what I was finding, and I don't think I told you this, did I? Yeah, I didn't tell you about my scavenger hunt. What I was finding is how well connected every single step is to the one that comes before. It's mind-boggling, really. I mean, for me as a teacher, I wanted to just stop scavenging because, I'm always in a hurry, me. And instead just sit there and click and go through and listen and almost do the activities, because it was so gratifying to see that those incremental steps that are not so slow for someone like me, who's always in a rush, because but yet not so fast for somebody else.
That was our aim, to build rather than to jump. Have the path evolve and appear as students take each next step. And also another thing that I was conscious of when we designed this program was helping students to become independent learners. So giving them, for example, encouraging them to think about how this relates to their own language. That's one other way to make it relevant. Because often when you grow up speaking just one mother tongue, or even two, if you've never learned a language in a sort of classroom setting, you don't think about what's a noun, what's a pronoun, or where to look to find that information. You don't know how to use a dictionary. You don't know how to look up something in a grammar book, or why it is that the subject of your sentence should or shouldn't be definite. These kind of things which contribute to then giving you a deeper understanding and access of sacred texts. Really, we try to build it into the curriculum so that students are making smooth progress, because that's not found in all courses, certainly not all of the ones that I've done. I've done a lot of Arabic courses. But the idea, I'm not just spoon feeding you information. And obviously we're going to continue to develop this, and I want to we want to really bump up that factor. But this idea that I already have knowledge that I can apply and build on. So that's another critical aspect of the curriculum. And one thing to relate this back to relevance, because you mentioned that in the Aqidah book you wanted to look at content that was relevant. And one of the things that continuously strikes me as becoming dangerously, I don't want to say irrelevant because that sounds disrespectful, but are translations. Because the the vocabulary, even just the vocabulary that is used, or even just the sentence, that's not how we speak. So it's, even in English, it sounds foreign. So that's one thing that I don't know the right way to do this, but this idea that either to equip students to translate the Quran so that it sounds like something they can relate to, something they can hear and digest, rather than thinking that just sounds strange, or they can go directly to the source and understand why it sounds like that. Here, this is what's happening in the verse that then gives you not just the surface level meaning, but the deeper meaning too. Because I mean, people will still use very antiquated translations, and that they often are just as foreign as the Arabic. So for someone like my great grandniece, yes, that's going to be an issue if it's not an issue already. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to tell everyone that I just want to underline that this Ribaat program that Dr. Anna Maria Ramazanzade has developed, all of the material is unique to Ribaat. It is designed, built, created by the team together. And that includes large teams scouring for text and writing text and exercises. And it's a huge endeavor that has been done, that we've been working on now for about 2 years, I think. Is that right? Yeah. We're in the second year of
almost first year, yeah. I think
of implementation. No, first year.
It's all a big now. I just remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Started in September. Yeah. So this is a very unique program. And while you were talking now, I was thinking about how difficult it is to convince language teachers to try a new way, because especially when they're coming at teaching their native language to non-native speakers. And I was even thinking about myself in the past. I've been a language teacher before, and my sort of adamant ideas about it. And I'm really appreciative of our teachers. We've had an incredible group of teachers who've been really willing to be open and growing with us as we build something brand new. And we also, I'll throw this out there, that we do hire Arabic. We continuously are on the lookout for Arabic teachers, because our modules and our classes are growing all the time. So while we might not need an Arabic teacher this moment, we are continuously on the lookout. So if you are an Arabic teacher and you're excited about teaching Arabic in a way that is a little different than you've done before, and you would like to be part of this movement, please apply. You can check out the job page at the rabata.org. I think it's /jobs or employment opportunities. Somebody will put the link in there. And yeah, because I really appreciate when someone like you is coming in with a very important, I was going to use the word heady, but like this sort of important and heady thinking that's behind the work that you're doing. Sometimes you can get a lot of roadblocks from people that are like, that's new, I'm not ready for that. But we haven't experienced that at Rabata, and I think really that's the hashtag We Are Our History beauty of all of the women on the team, all the women working, even the students who have been like, yeah, let's do this. Let's do something new. I'm good. I'm ready for this. Just letting that excitement is a really good sign for what we're all hoping for the future.
It's all very well designing a program, but you need enthusiastic, devoted, teachers who are conscious of the students' learning experiences, and our teachers, mashallah, have been incredible. And students, like you said, who are willing to unlearn sometimes, or they are jump back in, or as they jump back in. And I know that's been a challenge for some students, and for others who are new to the program, you probably have not learned a language in this way. So your willingness to embrace the new is certainly an essential criteria.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. All right, well, we went a little longer today because we started a little late, but I really appreciate you taking time and coming on and talking to us here. Again, this is Dr. Anna Marie Ramazanzade, who is an Oxford graduate and professor. She has been, she has reminded me a couple of times that Oxford is #1 in the world for university. And we're so blessed and honored that you are working with us and helping the Ummah. Alhamdulillah, helping the Ummah. May Allah bless you and answer your dua and
it really is my
give you all khair and goodness with dunya
thank you for the opportunity.
Alhamdulillah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and happy Women's History Month. I will be continuing at this time until the end of Sha'ban. And then in Ramadan, we are going to switch over at the very same time to Ramadan Talks. And that's going to be fun, too. We're going to have daily Ramadan Talks. So thank you so much. And